Hello guys, what's going on? In today's video I want to talk about smoking. As you can hear, my voice is still not back to its normal tone, but I guess it's alright, it's not too bad. My cold is over. I feel much better, which is good. So I thought I'd make a quick video. I've been watching a lot of commentaries recently on people stopping to smoke on YouTube. I myself, I'm smoke free since 6 months now, which is nice, and I'm quite proud of it. You know, it's quite an achievement. And that pride actually helps you to continue to not smoke in that sense. But yeah, let me get into that a bit later. I think I just want to share my story, how I got into smoking and how it starts, because it's so interesting. Like when you're young, right? Obviously your parents tell you, don't smoke, don't try it, don't even go there. And while you do agree with it, and while it does make sense to you, even as a child, still at some point one of your friends is smoking, and then you'll try it, and when you try your first cigarette you're like, oh well, no, it's a bit disgusting and you can't really breathe it into your lungs without coughing, and you're thinking, well, I think I'll never smoke. I might try it now, try a few cigarettes, but I'm not really a person that would smoke. And I think nearly everyone thinks like that. You just try it. Maybe you only smoke when you're together with this one particular friend. But then what's quite interesting actually now in retrospect, if I'm looking back, it's this thing where you in the beginning you can't smoke without getting a bit dizzy, and you can't breathe the smoke into your lungs. And then you kind of train yourself to do that, which is really a weird thing. You want to be able to do it because maybe your friend is able to do it, right? He smokes into his lung, and you're like, well, it can't be that difficult if he can do it. And then you teach yourself, and in the process of teaching that to yourself, you start to smoke a bit more. And I remember at the point where you are actually confidently smoking with your lung, you're kind of hooked already, which is interesting because it's this kind of competition with your friend where you try to learn something, and it's not a good thing, but still you kind of keep it on a competitive, playful level in the beginning. And then in the end you buy your first pack, and I remember how the design of cigarette packs also played a role in it. Like seeing other people ripping off that little piece of metal, silver foil from the cigarettes, and the smell of opening a fresh pack of cigarettes. It's just something that I remember till this day that I as a child kind of wanted to try. It's very weird, I know, but it did really play a role in me starting to smoke. And then before you can really grasp it, you're hooked on it and you smoke all the time. And in the beginning, maybe you just smoke a few cigarettes a day, maybe one before school and one after school. And then after a while, you're hooked on a full package. I never was I would say I never was a big smoker. I never smoked a whole pack a day. I just didn't like it that much, which I guess helps in terms of stopping to smoke. So that was an advantage, but nonetheless, it's never easy to smoke. And I've tried it a few times, and I think in the middle I was smoke free for a few months, and then I started again. And I guess you always have to be aware when you stop smoking. You have to realize even after 1 year, even after 3 years, you are still a smoker, and there will always be the temptation because everyone has their own little ritual of being a smoker. Some people do it when they're stressed. Other people do it when they're at a party or when they drink. Everyone has their reason to do it. And you have to realize whenever you're at a party or whenever you are in this situation where you're used to smoking, even 5 years later, I think, you will still have the temptation in your mind to be like, oh, I really wish I could smoke a cigarette now. And yeah, and that's kind of the risk you have to be aware of. Obviously, that's not easy. And I'm only, like I said, smoke free for about half a year. So I still have to force myself and really observe myself regularly when I'm in the pub or something and I'm drinking 2 or 3 beers with my colleagues and they start smoking cigarettes. I already caught myself a few times being really close to asking them for a fag, and it's shit. It's horrible. I never did it so far, which is good. But I guess, like I said in the beginning, the thing that when you are smoke free for 6 months, it does make you a bit proud. Like it kind of raises your chest, you know, and you're like, all right, 6 months, I've got that on my back. That is good. I don't want to say that like I'm feeling incredibly much better. You know, so many people in their smoking videos, they talk about, oh, I could smell things much better now, and I can taste things. And I noticed a slight better condition of my lung. Like I feel like I go back to jogging. I can run a bit further than I could half a year ago, which is nice. But I wouldn't say that I can smell things better now, or that I can taste things better. I don't think that's really the case. But in any case, this kind of pride that you have the 6 months on your back, it gives you strength. And when you're in the pub and you see all your friends smoking, you're gonna ask yourself twice, you know, whether it does make sense to actually now, just because of that particular situation, to break with it. And I've noticed this in the past when I've stopped. The moment you touch one cigarette, you are back in the game. It's just how it is, you know. It's just how that works. It doesn't work to say I'm gonna have one cigarette now, because you're gonna have another one in a few days, and then you're gonna have another one in half the time of before, and before you can, you know, realize it, you're gonna be back on it. So if you're in the process of stopping to smoke, stick with it. Don't do that one cigarette at the party or something. Just don't. Like, stick with zero. Like, give yourself the zero tolerance. But and I know that's not easy, especially in the beginning, but it does get easier after a while. And it does feel good. Not necessarily that like you're so much healthier. Like I said, you can taste everything, but it feels good to just not smoke, and it feels good to your consciousness. You know, it makes you feel a little bit better. So I guess one of the reasons why I'm doing this video is just to reach out to kids, because I know I do have quite a few kids watching my videos. And if you're kind of in the same situation where you see your friends smoking and they're like, oh, why not try it, mate? You know, have one, try it out. Nothing can go wrong. A lot of things can go wrong, and you will definitely kind of get hooked on it. And just don't do it. Don't do the first one. It sounds horrible. It sounds like a parroting advice, but it's really, really true. Like, just don't try, because you're not missing out on anything. You're not missing out on anything. Let me lose a few words kind of on how I stopped half a year ago. Mainly, I think it was to me having like physical problems. I noticed that after, I've been smoking like on and off more or less for 15 years, which is a very long time. And I think at some point you realize that your body takes, you know, some damage away from all the smoking. So in my case, I realized that my breathing is not as well anymore as it used to be. When I breathe in, I couldn't breathe in as deep as I could before. It was just a small difference, but it kind of was enough for me to say, you know, that's it. I don't want to, you know, I'm happy to compromise on many things, but I'm not happy on compromising my breathing. And it led to a point where on a day where I smoked more than normal, like after a party or something, I was laying in bed and I had problems breathing, right? I was like, and I was trying to get oxygen into my lungs, and it didn't work, and it took 3 or 4 breaths until I actually had enough oxygen in my lungs, and I was kind of satisfied with that. So that was very weird, and was very much like an alarming signal. So I said, that's it. And I think the main reason why I now made it through the first 6 months is because I have this motivation of, like, you know, obviously I've become a daddy recently, so that's a big motivation. You don't want to smoke in your home when you have a baby around. That's not a good thing. My wife doesn't smoke, which helps a lot. I think if you have a partner or your parents, you live with your parents and they smoke, that really sucks, because it does draw you into it, and it does bring you back to being a smoker, I think. So I'm really lucky, you know, that my wife doesn't smoke. Nobody in my family smokes, so that makes it easier. But nonetheless, it like, after I decided to stop smoking, I first started vaporizing a bit, because I thought, like, okay, you know, I can still get the nicotine, but don't have the compromise of the damage of my lungs, so maybe it helps. But after a while of vaporizing, it's just not the same. You know, you vaporize, and the satisfaction you get out of it is less. Like, it sounds stupid, but the actual hit you get in your lung when you pull in the smoke, it's like your lungs filling with smoke. That is a very weird, oddly satisfying feeling that you don't get from vaporizing. So I vaped for like about 2 months or whatever. And then I just stopped that as well because it was less satisfying. And it's interesting because it kind of gave you a bit of a bridge between stopping from one day to another, right? I stopped smoking cigarettes, went to vaporizing, didn't enjoy that much, did it for 2 months, and then stopped completely because I didn't want to go back to cigarettes. So I don't know, guys, if any of this can be help for you guys. Don't start to smoke, kids out there. Listen to all the commercials you see on television. Smoking's bad. It really is. I'm not just saying that. The video comes to an end. You can leave me a like if you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I see you guys next time. I'm out. Bye.